50,000 people went through our training seminars. And what frustrated me is after all of that training, people still did not change. And I was frustrated. And so I had a long talk with my mentor, my Lord, my King, after being so frustrated. And then pastoring a church for over 25 years now, it was worse. Because you're with people for 25 years and they still don't change. And so I was frustrated. And I said, God, why don't people change? And I went through a period of personal, private disillusionment. I said, God, I don't want to waste any more of my time with people if they're not going to change. I said, what is missing? I've taught them principles, precepts, techniques, methods, all the things you teach people, and they still don't change. And he answered me in a very simple way. He said, people don't change until their attitudes change. I mean, that was too simple for me. And then he said, attitudes don't change until thinking changes. And thinking doesn't change until beliefs change. So he says you got to go below education. You got to get down under teaching. You got to tap into something that the average human never gets to. You have to tap into the spirit of belief. Here's a thought you want to write down. It is the unique attitudes that distinguish leaders from followers. You can tell a leader from a follower simply by observing their attitude differences. A follower sees a problem. The leader sees an opportunity. They look at the same thing. Their conclusions are different. Followers panic. Leaders plan. So when chaos and crisis happens, followers panic. When chaos and crisis happens, leaders plan. Attitude. And you, I'm talking to you, young woman. I'm talking to you, young man. The key to your future is your attitude. I mentioned last night the first word that Jesus spoke in his ministry. It was an important word. His first public statement is found in Matthew 4, verse 17. And let me just say this, please. Jesus came to earth to restore leaders. The whole human race is supposed to be a race of leaders. Stay with me for the next 2 days. I'll explain that to you. His first words, Matthew 4:17, went like this. Repent, for the kingdom, the governing authority of heaven has returned on earth. The word repent means what? To change your mind. To go back to the original thinking. Re means to go backward. Repent means to think. His first command is go back to the original thought patterns of God. And then you can live in this kingdom. Write this down. The attitudes of a leader produces behaviors And these behaviors stretch the leader beyond the limitations of the norm. You see, what separates the leader from a follower is that something happened to her. Something happened to him that made him believe some things about him or herself that changed the way they see the world. So they behave differently. Their thinking is so uncommon that they attract people just by their thinking, the way they think. And it takes them beyond the limitations of being normal. Number 4, attitude is the product of belief. You know, you cannot create an attitude without a belief. Now, there are people in this room that have bad attitudes. That comes from bad beliefs.
Very good.
Negative attitudes comes from negative beliefs. Your attitude comes from your belief system. That's why the focus of God is your belief system. The word belief means what? It's the word faith in the Greek. Pistos. It says faith comes by hearing. Where did you hear what you believe now? Where did you get that from? Where did your hearing come from? It came from your culture, your neighborhood, your teachers, your parents, your politicians, your preachers, and you have become what they told you. That is why, for you to change, you got to disrupt what you're hearing. Jesus said these words to his disciples. He was trying to train them to think like leaders. He was trying to train them to think like kings. And he said these words to them. And I'm saying them to you now. He said to them, take heed what you hear. In other words, control what you allow to come into your ear. Don't just listen to any and everybody. Don't just read any and every book. Don't listen to any and every tape. Don't go to any and every seminar. Choose your information based on your destination. If you want to be great, don't listen to small people talk. You know, it's incredible. You having problems in your marriage, and you're getting advice from a divorcee. Now, that's dumb. I think that's dumb, okay? Take heed what you hear. Write this statement down, please. No one can live beyond the limits of their beliefs. You cannot live beyond the limits of your belief. You are trapped by your belief system. I don't care what you tell me, you cannot live beyond what you believe. Because you think what you believe. And as a man thinketh, that's the man. That's why you can go through a seminar on leadership and still come out a follower. Because the seminar never gets down to the level of beliefs. They talk about techniques and methods and all these principles. They don't get down to beliefs. I am one who can say without question that I have concluded that you cannot become a leader by attending a leadership school. Because leadership is not something you can learn. Listen to me, young man. Listen to me carefully. Leadership is not something you can learn. Leadership is something you discover. And the discovery happens to you. Your life is what you think it should be. You are exactly what you thought. You become exactly what you thought. You can't go beyond that until you change your thought.